So that's me put the recording on. I'm going to share my screen now, and we'll just talk through the agenda items that I have. So I thought we would spend a little bit of time talking about British etiquette, because one of the things that I've discovered in speaking to people is that not everyone understands the British ways. And so I thought it would be helpful to talk a little bit about that and what we expect in terms of personal interaction and what we count as rude, because some of the interactions I've had with people would be classed as downright rude. And so I, of course, make compensations because not everyone comes from the same background as me. So, you know what that is, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I think that might be an interesting topic for a little while. And then I thought I would do some grammar. Now, those that have asked me to cover grammar, none of them are actually on the call today. But at least we'll record it so they can always pick it up afterwards. So Mona has the password, expect her to join in just a moment. So when she joins, that will be 6 of us, and which is a good number. And we would say about that, we are quorum. Quorum, that's a good word. I'll just write that into the chat. Let me write that in the chat. Where's the chat? Since I shared my screen, I don't know where the chat window's gone. I'm sorry.
It was upside, sir. Hello Talk Web. We are able to see.
You can see. Can you see the chat window, Bindu? Can you still see the chat window?
Chat window.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. I can't see it. You see, it's kind of disappeared since I've shared my screen.
Yeah. Go to the tick marks, sir. 3 tick marks is there. Just go.
So I can see. If I don't share my screen, I can see it. But if I share,
after share, you have an option, sir. More and the 3 tick marks, sir. You have a 3 tick marks left side.
3 tick
and
marks.
The Zoom. Yeah, the vertical dots was there, no? In Zoom.
It's maybe you're on a Mac.
No, sir. Go to your profile. Beside your profile photo, you have a 3 vertical marks was there in Zoom Meet. There you have an option to chart.
I find it. So, right. Yeah, so the topics I thought we'd cover were etiquette and manners, and then grammar. And then I thought we would do like, you know, an ask me anything section. And we'll do, I find an interesting thing on the web on British expressions. We'll look at a few of those. They're fun. So we'll cover those as well. And I'm very happy to take ideas as well. 1 second, I've got Mona asking me something here. Just bear with me. She can't seem to get in. So just bear with me while I speak to her, because I would really rather help her to get in, and then we'll start. Hiya. Hiya. Not bad, not bad. I just wanted to try and help you get in if you could. Did you click on the right link, the Eastern link, yeah? And what's the problem then? Link? Yeah. What I'll do is I'll send it to you on WhatsApp. I'll send you the connection here. All right. I'll send you that just 2 seconds. All right. See you in a minute. Bye. Bye. So we'll just give her a minute to join. I'll say hello to Shivi. I've not seen Shivi in the call before, I don't think. Hello, Shivi.
Yes, good evening, sir. I am CV.
Shivi. Am I pronouncing it right? Shivi?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. And where are you from, Shivi?
I am from India,
Which part?
Lucknow.
Lucknow.
I have also sent you a message.
Yeah, I remember now. You're the only
Yeah.
person. You're the only person in the team from Lucknow. But
Lucknow. Yeah.
Anjali on the call today is from India as well. She's from Bihar.
Yeah.
And also there's another girl that we're hoping will join us, Shweta. And she is from Jharkhand, if I'm pronouncing that right. And there's another girl also from South India, and she is from Tamil Nadu. Akshaya is her name, but she's not joining class today, but she's part of the group.
Okay.
So
Hi, sir. I also joined today class. This is my first class.
hi, Bindu. It's really good. You really confused me, Bindu, because of your profile picture. It's some guy.
Yes, sir. He is my favorite actor.
Is he a famous actor or something?
No, my favorite actor.
Your
I
favorite
like
actor?
him.
Okay. Yeah, it really confused me. You say this guy with this lady's voice, you know?
Okay, sir. I will change that. Everyone asking about that.
Well, you don't have to change it for my benefit because I got you figured out, you see. But just bear with me, folks, while I help Mona here. Ah, there's Mona joining. Great. Hi, Mona. Hi, Mona.
Hi, teacher.
How are you doing?
Thank you. How are you, teacher? Excuse me because of my problem to
That's all right.
connecting.
That's all right.
Yes.
No problem. So I think, yeah, we'll just carry on. We're recording already. I was half wondering about stopping it and then starting again because we've been faffing around all this time. But I'd rather wait and have everybody. What I would say at this point is, in terms of waiting for you, Mona, there's no show without punch.
Thank you.
All right, there's no show without punch. I'll write that down, right? Right? There is no show without punch. And what that comes from is a thing in Britain called the Punch and Judy show. None of you will have heard of that. But I'll maybe put in the forum a picture of the Punch and Judy show, which is when circuses used to travel around Britain years and years ago, I mean, hundreds of years ago. There would be this show and there would be Punch and Judy. And Judy was the male character, Judy was the female. And it's a lot of nonsense anyway. But you couldn't have the show without Punch. Punch had to be there, even though Punch didn't say much. So, sorry, just bear with me. I've now got Shweta struggling. Can't get into the class. Okay. But what I'll do is I'll send her the same message I sent you. Shweta. So I'll send her that same message. Hopefully she'll join as well. And yeah, so that's what we say. If somebody is important, we say there's no show without punch. See, so there you go, Mona. You're important. I was saying you've been at every class so far. You haven't missed a class, so that's why I wanted to wait for you. And we'll just wait also for Shweta. She's on her way, and then we'll go. I don't know where all the guys are, right? Because this class is not exclusively for women. You folks are all ladies, and I don't know if the guys are too shy or embarrassed by the intelligence of all these women. I don't know. But you're also far keener on the group. You know, you talk a lot and contribute, where the guys don't say much. So, but there are guys in the group, so I can't explain that. So maybe you folks can explain that. I can't don't really understand it.
I think only 2 or 3 guys are there in the group, sir. I think there is one more sir. He has recently joined the group.
Yeah, so you've probably noticed I've split the group into 2 now, right? So we've got the elementary group and we've got the advanced group. So essentially, the advanced group is really everyone who is making active contribution and doing the homeworks and stuff like that. So they're the ones in the advanced group. So you guys can all move at a faster rate than the others. And anyone is allowed to move up if they want, but they need to be contributing. That's kind of, I figured it would be a better way of doing it. So there you go. Hi, Mona. I see your face now. So still no Shweta.
Hi, Mona.
I'm just going to phone Shweta.
You have not unmuted your microphone.
Hi, Shweta. What's the problem? Hi. Okay. Well, look, you got the link. I'm just going to start the class, Shweta, and if you join, you join, and if not, then you can just get the recording. Okay, my dear? All right? All right. But keep trying if you can. Keep trying. I've sent you the link here on WhatsApp, okay? All right then. See ya. Bye. Bye. So she's got some technical problems. Right. So we'll just start. So let me talk about British manners then. So I have find this little website, and it's 30 manners your kids should know by the age 10. Okay. So this is things that we teach our children, and I do recognize all these things. And we'll see. You guys can tell me, since you're all from different countries, if you do these things in Iran or India, the two nations that are represented today. So, saying please and thank you. So when we ask for something, anything at all, we would say please. We teach our children to say please. Please, Mum, can I have some more? We would do that all the time. We would never say, can I have some more, please? We would say, please, or can I have some more, please? Right? We would teach our children with a, if they don't do that, right? That's quite a British thing, that. Now, question for you guys is, does that translate? Do you guys do that, or do you guys not do that? You can answer me in the group chat,
Can you
or you can answer verbally.
can you repeat the question, sir?
Yeah, the question is when you ask for something of somebody else, do you say please?
Yes, always say please.
You do. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And
Yes, if
what about my two representatives from Iran? Is that a culture in Iran or not?
Yes, sir.
yeah,
This is a culture.
culture.
Yeah, but I'm asking about Iran. I'm not asking about India.
Yes. Yes, teacher. Yes. Yes. Or we say, can I ask you, for example, please, or can I ask you?
Yeah. Okay. So that's good to know. So that one translates quite.
May I add something about Iran?
Sure, Elham. Sure.
You know, in Iran, we do that when the conversation is formal.
Yeah.
And if we are talking to our friends or like parents or siblings, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if the conversation is informal and French in a friendly manner, so no, I think we don't use that please and thank you. Or maybe we use some slangs instead.
Slang? Did you say
Yeah.
slang?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one is thank you. So when somebody then gives you something, saying thank you. Now I can say categorically that in Iran you say thank you, because Mona says thank you and puts that wee symbol there when I do anything. So that's obviously a key part of your culture.
That is the.
What was that?
In India also, so in India also
Yeah.
we use this thing.
Yeah.
Namaste. We call this thing namaste.
Namaste. I know. I learned to say
Yeah.
namaste. I learned to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Teacher, most time in Iran, we use merci. Merci is in French language, but we use this.
That's interesting. It would be rare here, but we certainly understand that in England and Scotland. And you would occasionally, very occasionally hear somebody saying merci, merci, thank you.
Okay.
We do use lots of French words, which I've already taught you guys, and we'll do more. I used one just yesterday, laissez-faire. I won't get distracted to go into that just now, but we use a lot of French terms, a lot of French words. Then the next one is making introductions. We would always introduce ourselves to other people before we get into conversation. hello, I am Alan. And they would respond, and then, and as I explained last time, it's generally good etiquette to, what we call it, the term is build rapport. So whenever you're first speaking to somebody, we don't, I'll just take away the screen. I'll unshare the screen in a little bit. So I think it'll be better. Yeah. So we when we get into conversation, we don't say, what do you want to talk about? Right? That'd be really, really rude. Or if somebody does do that, and people do that, by the way, we would regard them as having no emotional intelligence. Let me write that down. So emotional. So I think most of you have probably heard of IQ, intelligent quotient. Have you? You heard of that?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes. So intelligent quotient is a measure of somebody's level of intelligence, right? So right off the bat, I can tell you that you all have high IQs, right? I mean, this is obvious to me. Very high IQs, in fact. But you can't tell if somebody has a high EQ, which is an emotional quotient, which has become popular in more recent terms, unless you spend some time with them and understand that. And this is, you could have somebody who's got a very high IQ. Shweta is telling me she's not hearing my voice. I don't know if it's that or if I'm speaking too fast. Let me see what she says. Is everybody else hearing me okay?
Yeah, sir. Fine. We are able to hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Elam says she can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you too.
You can hear me as well, Anjali. So you can do what Elham just did there. She put her thumbs up. There's a way of putting your thumbs up on the thing. I don't actually know off the top of my head how to do that, but you can maybe figure out how to do that yourselves. Reactions, it's called reactions in my screen. And you see, I can do a thumbs up like that. You see that? Or you can put a raised hand if you say, I want to ask a question. Bindu's just tried it. You can also go, oh, what are you talking about? Or love that one, etc., right? Or clap hands, happy with that one. That's kind of cool. So you can express your emotions a little bit. I think it might just disappear by itself. Yeah, it disappears by itself. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, so I think we're all learning how to use Zoom, and it's a very effective way for having a class like this. I mean, it's not as good as being together, obviously, but hey, that would never happen in the real world, given the physical geography. So what was I saying there? I was talking about please, then I talked about thank you.
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional, thank you, Bindu. Bindu?
Yeah, it's Bindu.
Bindu. So, yeah, so emotional intelligence is where somebody, like, they may or may not have a high IQ. It's kind of entirely orthogonal. Orthogonal means at right angles to that point. So people who have high EQs are people who can read other people well. They understand where they're coming from emotionally, right? And you can get some people who are very IQ, like incredibly intelligent physicists, you know, PhDs that can do amazing things with numbers and mathematics, and they can have poor EQ. Okay, but you can have people who are very bright intellectually, IQ-wise, and also EQ. And you can have people who are good at EQ and low IQ or high IQ. It's entirely different. It's a different dimension, if you like. So when you're coming together with somebody else and getting to know them, we expect, normal society expects you to build rapport, right? Now, rapport is a French word, and it's spelled like that. I've just put it on the chat. It looks like report, but we don't say report. We say rapport, rapport, the French way of saying it. And rapport is where you build up a kind of a warmth between you and somebody else, so that you can move from that formal, how do you do, into more chatty, more friendly terms. That's what building rapport is. And you wouldn't do this with somebody in a shop who you just want to buy something from. You wouldn't necessarily do that, but you would do this with anybody that you, in a business relationship, right? Where we've talked in the past about the difference between friendship and acquaintance and so on. When you just need to get some business done with somebody, then in general, you would need to build rapport with that person. So you'll ask them a little bit about themselves. You'll tell them a little bit about yourself. You wouldn't ask somebody's age. That's too personal, right? At least in the first meeting, right? Once you get to know somebody, you can ask them their age if you want, and you can ask them what they do. You can ask them about their family. And in general, what we do is we tread carefully, asking a little bit and sharing a little bit. And it's like you're feeling each other out. Am I making sense? So that's as a building rapport. And we don't go into all that with children, but we teach that to adults. Yeah. So I think, Angeli's answered your question there. I had written it already earlier.
No, but it was not posted, sir.
What was that, Bindu?
No, sir. Actually, your chat didn't come into chat box.
So your audio is not coming over clearly. I can't really hear what you're saying, Bindu. I'll ask you one more time.
No, sir. Actually, you written, but we didn't get in our chat box the word.
Oh, didn't you? Oh, sorry. My fault. My bad. It's because I wrote the word to Shweta and not to everybody. Sorry. Apologies. So what we say in this scenario is the thought was there. The thought was there. I did do it. But I just made a faux pas. There's a good French expression. A faux pas. Right? I don't know why my thing is coming up. Do you mean relation between something? If everyone can try and type your messages to everyone, unless it's very personal to me, just put it to everyone, then everyone can read, right? Shweta is saying not getting your voice. Do you mean relation between something? Mona's asking me, do you mean relation between something? Relation? So I will take my time and explain this more slowly, and hopefully all the questions will be answered. And if not, then I'll take questions, okay? So, rapport, which you all know how it's spelled, is R-A-P-P-O-R-T. So it sounds like, if you had never heard that word and you've seen it written down, you would say that word is like report, you know, like R-E-P-E-T. Everyone knows that word, right? R-E-P-O-R-T, yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so in business, you have to write a report. In college, you have to write a report. You might have to report to the headmaster. That's report. But rapport is 2 P's, O-R-T. Rapport is pronounced like the French way, right? Bindu, do you want to go on mute, please? Because you're a wee bit noisy in the background, thanks. You can come off mute when you want to speak, no problem. So rapport is building a relationship, right? And we don't mean that in a personal relationship, boy meets girl. It's not romantic. It's rapport is between any two people, right? Two guys, two women, between any two people. And it's just warmth, friendliness. That's what we mean by that kind of relationship. So because we've been working together for a couple of weeks now, I have built a rapport with all of you, right? This is the first time Shivi has been in the call. Don't know Shivi, but by the end of this call, she will know me. But Angela and Moni and Elham and Shweta, you know, I've spoken to them all. And so we've built rapport. We have broken the ice and we can chat freely as friends. So that's what building rapport is. Now I'm going to stop and ask questions and pause and see, is everything that I'm saying, is it making sense? Do you get me? And am I speaking at a speed that's appropriate for your hearing? I know not everyone is as experienced at hearing, and I might be speaking too fast for you. You tell me, don't be shy. So I'm getting a couple of thumbs up. Elham's going to ask me a question. Yes, Elham?
About the building rapport.
Yeah.
For example, if you when you add someone in the group, if we don't introduce ourselves to him or her, is it a kind of impolite manner?
Okay, so I'm going to repeat the question for everyone's benefit. The question is it impolite in the group chat to not speak to somebody new? Now, this is a good question. And there is no real protocol for this, because all of the normal models we have for interaction come from, you know, real life, meeting people in the street. Hello, how do you do? Nice to see you, right? And, you know, once you move into the online world, it's a little bit different, okay? Now, I think if somebody, my take on this is, I'll tell you what I think. My take on this is, if somebody comes on the group brand new and says, hi, everyone, I'm glad I'm in the group. It is nice if people say to them, oh, hi, new boy, new girl. Hi, nice to see you. Welcome to the group. That's nice. It's warm. It's friendly. It's welcoming. So that's nice. Okay. So that's my reaction to that. However, I think you've probably all figured me out by now, in that what I don't want the group chat to be is a place where everybody comes together every day and says, hi, how you doing? Blah, 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 and gets loads of chit chat. I don't want that. And that is not because I'm not a friendly guy, because all of you know I am, but it's because as the thing gets a little bit bigger, I don't want it to be full of just little messages like that, because it's frankly very irritating for people to review. So if you haven't looked at the group for a couple of days because you've been busy, and you go back and look through it, if it's full of those kind of messages, it's like, I'll use slang here, it's a pain in the tonsils. Right, that's a good slang. A pain, it's a pain, it's annoying. It's a pain in the tonsils. Your tonsils are in your throat, right? It's a pain. And so if I am putting myself in your shoes and I'm scrolling through the forum, and when I read, you know, what did Elham say in that? What did Shweta say? What did EO say? I want to see the content. And so I encourage people, mostly keep it meaningful. And if you want to chat to somebody, by all means chat, but go to your personal if Shweta wants to talk to Anjali, she just send her a personal message. Yeah. Don't do it in a group forum, because it's not of interest to anybody else. But certainly welcomes, I think, are good. Now I'm going to pause there and ask, does that all make sense to you guys? Do you agree with me? Or do you not agree with me? What do you think?
Yes, sir. I agree.
You agree. So,
Usually I reply like whenever some new person come to the group, usually I welcome them.
yeah,
Sometimes I miss them, but usually I welcome them.
I know. Cool. Thank you. So I'm getting an Anjali and Elham and Bindu, you've both got your hand up. Does that mean you want to ask a question or does that mean you agree? Help me out.
No,
I have
sir.
a question.
You've got a question, Elham. Right, you go first and
Yeah.
then we'll come to Bindu. Yep.
Yeah, I want to continue the previous question. I want to make sure I'm not appearing rude or impolite, because I think sometimes you are not in the mood, or sometimes you're just not outgoing person. You know, I want to know where is the border that I should put the pressure so that to behave in a way so that I'm not getting wrong, because I don't want to be rude, but maybe I'm just not in the mood, or I'm not that I don't have that personality to just welcome everyone, or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, right. So that is a really good question. I'm going to take my time to answer that. But I'm going to take see what Bindu's question is as well, in case I can answer both in the one reply. But we'll definitely deal with that. Right, Bindu, what's your question?
No, sir, I just raised my hand that I agreed your point. Like it's a group for only for English. We need to improve our English, but not like a chit chat.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm agreeing your.
So what to do is, rather than put the hand up when you say, I want to ask a question. If you want to say, I agree, Alan, use the thumb. See that? See the use the thumb reaction?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. We'll figure this out. That's great. Thanks. Now, coming back to Elham's question. Okay. The problem with electronic communications, every form, email, I know people use email less these days, but email, texting, WhatsApp, talking in a forum is, you're not with the person, you can't read their face. And what Elham is touching on here is the fact that the reality of life is that not everybody is in a chatty mood all the time. Right? This is life. And it doesn't matter whether somebody is extrovert like me or introvert like some of you. I don't know you all well enough to know who's who, right? But I know some introverts in the call. And like sometimes you're in the mood to chat, yeah? And sometimes you really want to chat, right? And other times you really don't. You've got something on your mind, or something's worrying you, or you're anxious about somebody. You could have a family member that's really ill, a parent, let's say, who's really ill. And because of that, it's affecting your mood. It's just, you know, it doesn't stop you speaking to other people, but it's putting a dampener on your spirit. And so you don't want to chat very much. Now, in real life, you can read somebody's face and you can read their body. We talk about your body language, right? You can almost tell immediately if somebody is very open, right? If they want to chat and hi, you know, or if they're not really doing that, if they're kind of a bit more reserved. And that, we read these signals from one another, don't we? We read these signals and say, okay, that person doesn't want to chat to me today. That's okay. So there is a little bit of negotiation that goes on almost subconsciously with other people. And if they don't really want to chat at that time, that's okay. That's the proper word to use here is prerogative. I don't know if you know that word. prerogative. It means like privilege, or maybe it's their right. It's their right. So you can't force somebody to chat to you if they don't want to, right? You can't do it. And it's also not polite to do that. You would, you need to read. So somebody with high EQ, high emotional intelligence, is, can read somebody else and figure this out, right? And most people should have some level of it, right? Everybody has to have some level. You wouldn't be human, right? You'd just be a robot, right? And in general, I would say, I'm going to make a sexist comment now. I suspect women are better at this than men. I suspect that, but some people might disagree with me. But in general, women, again, and this is a generalization, women are more into people than things. I think that's a truism, which is why there are more male engineers than female engineers. But there's more female nurses than male nurses. Well, why is that? Now, some people say it's to do with the schooling, or it could be to do with society, the expectations that society places on people. But it was Jordan Peterson I heard make this comment, so it's not just my idea, and he's a very intelligent man in Canada. If you haven't ever Googled him, you want to Google him and listen to some of his stuff. He is a psychologist. And he pointed out once, and it stuck with me, that males are often more interested in things than women are. And so that's why guys are into cars, and guys are into gadgets, and guys are into tech more than women. But of course, there's exceptions. This is kind of a median kind of a thing. And because women are more into people than things, they're often better at reading people. It's just that, and I don't know if you use this term in your cultures, but over here we talk about women's intuition, which is this, like, everybody has some level of intuition, which is this ability to figure the answer without logically knowing why. They just know, and so they're very good.
Can you please write the term?
What?
Can you please write the term?
Yeah. So women's intuition. Now, as you get to understand the exact meaning of that term, you can tell me if you use that or something similar in India or Iran. No? So
yeah, we say that.
You do say that, yeah.
Yeah, we say that.
So an expression might be the guy was bragging about something, but as Elham was listening to him, she just figured out he was lying. He wasn't telling the truth. And somebody might say, well, why? How did Elham know that? Oh, it's women's intuition. She just knew. She could just read him.
Oh, is this the instinct? The intuition and instinct are the same.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's similar to that. It's not the same as instinct. That's a good thing we'll research, actually. Why don't we do that in the group on the chat? The difference between instinct and intuition. They're both very good terms, different nuanced meanings, but there's a little bit of overlap between these things. There's Venn diagrams and all of this, of overlap. So instinct is one thing, and then intuition is another, and there's a little bit of overlap between them. Anyway, we should probably move on to the topic and not go on to this one too long, but I want to just pause and ask, does everyone get what we were saying about rapport? And is there any loose ends with that has not been answered? I'm getting a thumbs up from you have a question, Angie.
I have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we say that women are more emotionally intelligent.
So this is a question for a psychologist, not a computer guy. I will get into big trouble for answering that question one way or the other, right? Because there are some very emotionally intelligent guys. Very emotionally intelligent. There are.
In general,
In general, my perspective would be that our women are way ahead than guys. Way ahead. Yeah. I think so. But that's just my perspective. I could be wrong. But I'm older than you all, so I must be right.
yeah.
May I add something to the description?
Gray head counts for something, you know. Yes, Elham, go ahead.
You know, I think it is not gender based. I think it is about mindset. There are men with female mindset and male mindset, and there are women with male mindset and female mindset. You know, if your mindset is tending to be in female side, whether you are a man or a woman, I think you can say you are more, you have more EQ. I think like that.
Yes, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. I wouldn't necessarily associate having high EQ as being in any way feminine. I wouldn't, you know, there was nothing feminine about that. I mean, I think females are good at it, but I don't think, so I kind of disagree a wee bit with you there on that point, to be honest. You know, there's certainly nothing effeminate about it. Do you know the word effeminate? You would use the word effeminate to describe a man who sort of behaved like a girl, right? That would be effeminate. And somebody who has a male who has high EQ could be effeminate or not, but it wouldn't go along with that. So anyway, this is a discussion we'll take offline or talk about another time. So are we okay to move on from rapport? Is everybody okay with that? Hopefully in all of this, as we've discussed these things, we're also practicing our English, right? Because you're listening to me, you're also speaking, we're thinking in English, which I think will all help gradually, slowly catch a monkey, yeah? You can't become an expert overnight. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to share the screen again to see what the next one was. So we talked about saying please and thank you and making introductions, covering your mouth when you sneeze or cough, right? So that's a thing. We expect people not to sneeze at somebody, you know, not just because it's COVID times, but, you know, it's just a polite thing to do, right? We teach our children not to pick your nose in public. That's regarded as quite rude. Greeting visitors and saying goodbye, kind of an obvious one. Yes, asking for things instead of reaching for them. So let me stop the share. So if we were all sitting together around a table and I wanted something from near Anjali, I would say, excuse me, Anjali, could you pass me the pepper, please? I wouldn't reach for it. It would be regarded as rude to reach, and certainly rude to reach over somebody. So if Elham was beside me, sitting cheek by jowl, you know that expression, huh? We're sitting cheek
Yes, sir. Close together.
Yes, close together. So Elham's to my left, and I want something that's beyond her, right? We would regard it as very rude to reach over. So my arm is almost going across her face. So what we would do is we would ask, excuse me, Elham, can you please pass me the salt? Yeah, we don't. It's regarded as a bit rude to read unless it's right in front of you. So we're all into that etiquette.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one on the list was knocking before you enter a room. So if you were entering your own room, your say a bedroom, and it was yours, then you would be free to enter that at any time. But if it was somebody else's bedroom, even a family member, we wouldn't barge in. You know, in case they're getting dressed, undressed, whatever. You know, so we would regard it as good etiquette to knock a door first. Excuse me. Are you there? Can I come in? Yeah.
What is that term, sir? Barge in? Barge in?
Barge in. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, there's a good one. Yeah, barge in. So barge in is just go straight through the door without knocking. Barge in. Barge. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Right.
I'd used that without thinking.
And what about effeminate?
I've written it on the forum. Did I not? No.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
I didn't. I wrote it. See, the problem is when somebody sends me a message, it changes it to. So Mona had asked me, and I missed it, Mona, to speak more slowly. I will slow down. So I'll write that word again. Effeminate to everyone. See, the problem is if somebody sends me a direct message, it turns my chat window into talking to them. And unless I pay attention to that, if I just type in, I end up sending the message. So I sent the word effeminate to Mona already, as opposed to everybody, but it was just bad. Yes.
We haven't got the word barge in yet.
Barge. Yeah, I sent it to Mona. Sorry. Okay, so barge in is go straight through the door. You know, you don't even knock it; you just go straight through the door. Yeah, we definitely do not do that. That's regarded as rude, very rude. We would never do that, even within a family. Would knock. Even a parent entering.
But in India.
Yeah, even a parent. You would say, well, the parent has the right? It's their house, it's their home, blah, blah, blah. But even so, a parent wouldn't barge into a child's room, they would knock first. Hey, Johnny, you there? Yeah.
Excuse
but
me,
in
sir.
India, you know.
In India, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me,
in India, okay, she will.
No, you can.
Well, one at a time. Shivi, you go next. Anjali's already spoken, so you go, Anjali.
Yes.
You go, Shivi. Yeah.
Okay, so in India, we have this concept like our parents, they don't knock the door and they just enter into our room. Like they don't, what do you say, the privacy of their child. There is no concept for privacy of their child in India.
Okay. Yeah, that. So I'm going to use another expression here. This is an American expression. I would say to that scans. And what that means is that makes sense. Now, I first heard that on a movie, one of the Bourne movies years ago. I thought, what does that mean? That scans. And I actually do not understand the etymology. Do you know that word, etymology? Etymology. There you go. Etymology is the root of a word. So do you remember when I was teaching you the etymology of sincere? And I taught you that it meant without wax. Do people remember that? No, I'm getting blank expressions. So you know what sincere means, yes?
Yeah.
Sincere.
Somebody is so into learning or something. Somebody is so keen.
No.
So serious.
No.
You know, stuff.
I don't mean serious. You're thinking of serious?
No, sincere means like we say that the child is very sincere.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We have done this in the past, but it might have been a different group. I definitely taught it to EO. I can remember teaching her because I was downstairs and I got the candle out to illustrate this with candle wax. So I know Elham knows this. If you would just bear with me, Elham, while I just cover this. So sincere means somebody is being genuine, not diligent. What you were talking about was, we would say a diligent child, diligent in their studies is the word that we would use for what you were describing, Anjali. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or dedicated or studious.
Yeah.
Like we've got 101 words to say this, right? So, hi Mona, it's good to see your face. Mona, you keep me slowing down if I'm too fast, okay? Yeah, so if somebody is really, really studious, like I think I have already commented in the last day about EO was making her notes on all the words, and she was taking a picture of it and putting it on the group, right? And she had done that for every word that I had put in the V and the X, van, vanquished, all these words. She'd looked up the meaning and written it out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use another expression we would use here. Blown away. And blown away means I'm very impressed. You see? I'm blown away, just, right? I'm amazed, right? That she has done that because I wasn't asking people to do that. I was only trying to get you to practice saying the and to distinguish from what, a V from a W, yeah? And I was pointing out if you said veal, like wheel, I was saying that's not right, yeah? But that's a common problem, right? So getting back to sincere means genuine, right? So somebody had to come and give a report at the court. So here's a legal situation, and Mona's is from a legal background. So somebody has to report to the court, and somebody could say they were very sincere. You could tell they were telling the truth. You see, they weren't lying, they weren't fabricating, they weren't making things up. We use the word fabricating to describe when you make something, you fabricate it, right? You fabricate it. And so if you say that somebody is fabricating, you mean they're making up their words. Okay? Or we would say it's a fabrication, right? That's a total lie. It's a polite way of saying it's an absolute lie, right? Now, so we got onto this by talking about etymology. So it's the etymology of sincere is very interesting. It comes from Latin and it means sin, sear. Sin is without and sear means wax. It means without wax. And if I just told you that, you'd be lost. What do you mean without wax? And what's wax got to do with being sincere? But it's actually very interesting. Long ago, when they made marble statues in the Greek world and in the Roman world, if you go to Rome today, you'll see lots of marble statues, right? Yeah. And it's all white marble and it's very pretty to look at. But you can imagine how much work it is chipping away with a chisel and a hammer very carefully to make a marble statue, Michelangelo style, right? Imagine that. And what would happen sometimes, they would put in all these months of work and it would crack. You get this crack would go through that because it's so brittle. So what's to do, right? Well, the proper thing to do is to say that 6 months of work is wasted. Let's start over, right? And I noticed they had this problem at the Taj Mahal because it's all marble, right? And I went there, and it was a marvel to me, right? But you had these statues, and they were made with marble. Now, when they got this crack, one of the things that they did sometimes was they would take a candle, a white candle, the same hue as the marble. So here's one here, right? I just happen to have one. So here's a candle, you see? They would take the candle and they would rub it on the crack, you see? See, there's a crack in the neck, they would rub it.
Oh.
And what they were doing is they'd be filling in the crack. And then when you looked at it, polish it, it would look perfect. It would look fine. But the problem was when you put the statue out in the sun, the Mediterranean heat, it would melt the wax and the crack would appear.
Yeah.
So this word became invented, which was sincere, which means without wax. If something was without wax, it means that there's no cracks in it, no faults in it. It's genuine.
Yeah, that's very interesting, actually.
Interesting, right? So that's where the word comes from. Now, what I've just described to you, I've illustrated what etymology is. Where does a word come from? Right? What's the root? What was the root? It might have morphed over time. Let me write that word down, morph. Or morph. And people have heard of the word transformation. Comes from that, yeah. So that's the idea of something changing shape, something that morphs, change. Yeah. So sometimes words change shape; they change meaning over time, and you wonder how it could have meant what it did mean. Way back. So English is like that. Older words in English change meaning. A really good example of that is let. To let. To let in the 1600s meant prevent, and nowadays let means to allow. It's changed meaning completely, right?
So can you please write the word in the chat?
Yeah, to let. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. This is a very strange example to you, but it says there's a verse in the Bible that says, "He that letteth will let," and that means prevent, right? Another word that's changed meaning is conversation. Conversation means chatting. Now we're having a conversation, but in Shakespeare's time and in the Bible's time, 1611 time, the word conversation meant behaviour. Behaviour.
Okay.
So you could read things about your conversation in a certain way, but it's not speaking about how you speak. It's speaking about your manner of life. Yeah. So words morph in time, and if you go back to like Chaucer, it's like almost unintelligible. I can't read Chaucer, although my niece can. She loves it. I'm going to get her to come on as a guest. She studies English at university and knows a lot more than me. It's that wouldn't be hard. But Chaucer, it doesn't even feel like English. Okay, so that was etymology. So let me do a share screen again, and we'll come back to see what else is on this list. So knocking, we've done 7. Responding when adults ask how you are. This is one that applies more to children. Not so much adults, but an adult might ask a child, how are you? And a child might be shy and not want to respond, you see. I don't really know you. I don't want to answer you. Children are very guilty of that. And so we, in Britain, encourage the children to speak to the adult and respond. So if an adult asks the child, how are you doing? We would expect the child to answer. And if they don't answer, the parent would strongly encourage the child to answer. Okay? So that's an etiquette thing. And also we teach children not to interrupt parents. So if parents are speaking, if adults are speaking, we don't expect the child to come and say, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." We tell them to be quiet and to wait their turn. And if they want to interrupt the conversation, to say, "Excuse me, can I ask something?" Right? That's what we teach our children, right? Yes, if you're walking down the street and you bump into somebody accidentally, we always say, "Excuse me." You know, we would always say that, always, and they would do that in America as well. Yeah, so you're walking down a busy street and you bump into somebody. "Oh, excuse me, excuse me." They would always say that. The next one's interesting. Don't use electronics at the table. You know, it is a modern thing that lots of people are sitting there at a table. You're at a dinner table and people are sitting on their phone. You know, that is regarded as very rude. We don't do that. You know, sometimes if you've got an urgent meeting or, you know, I've got an important message, you would say to other people, look, you would signpost it, you know, a bit like Bindu's done. Her hand's been up this whole time, right? I don't know if it's accidental or what. But yeah, let me go to the chat again. Where's the chat window? Yeah, we would signpost it. To signpost is like putting up a sign, right? So we let people know. So listen guys, I've got a really important call coming in the next half hour. I really need to take it. So just let you know. So when the phone rings, I'm not being rude to you. Or I might say, look, I'm checking for important messages from my work and, you know, I need to keep looking at my phone. I'm not being rude to you. But if somebody just by habit is meeting with other people and having dinner, but they're spending more time on their phone than they are with the people around about them, we regard that as very rude. And so we try to discipline ourselves, put our phone down and not look at it, or turn it off, or put it in silent, or something. Yeah, so we encourage kids to wash their hands before meals, personal hygiene. Not commenting on personal appearance. Now this is an interesting one. This wouldn't affect children who wouldn't do this, but let me come off this. Yeah, so I might say to Angela, "You're looking well today," right? That's perfectly okay, right? But you wouldn't comment on somebody's, here's a nice way of putting it, right? Somebody said this years ago, or I read it and I never forgotten it. It just struck with me. It's perfectly okay to comment on what man does, but not what God does. I'll explain. If a woman's hair is very nice, it's okay to comment, "Oh, your hair is beautiful today." Or if she's wearing a nice dress, it's okay to comment that that's a beautiful dress, right? But it would be inappropriate to comment on, you know, a woman's form, her breasts or anything like that. That would be totally no go, right? A woman can do that with another woman. That's up to them, right? But never a man with a woman, ever, never. Absolutely no go. If anyone was to go in that direction, it would only be people who were very close, right? But in general, we don't do that. But commenting on a dress or your hair or your nails or your makeup, totally fine, 100% fine. So what man does, the dress, the hair, I'm saying man in the general sense, male or female, right? What is man-made is okay. You can comment on that. And it's actually appreciated. Women love it here. I don't know about there, but here, you comment on a dress, they will remember that you commented on the dress. They will remember.
Yeah.
But you'd never comment, you'd never say, "Your legs are skinny." Or you'd just never, ever, ever, ever go there. You'll never live it down if you did that. Okay? So I find that helpful. And I find that distinguishing thing, helpful. I mean, a A woman might comment to her husband and say, do you think I look fat? You know, but even then he wouldn't say, yes, you look fat. Because like, you know, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it, you know, so.
These are the perks of being a woman.
Yeah. It's never live it down, you know, so, and you better remember her birthday, right? Your life's not worth living if you forget it, you know. So, right. So that was a bit of fun. We had a bit of fun there. What was the next one? Holding doors open and not burping. Yeah. So this is not a female thing, but there's a thing called chivalry.
Yeah, I know that too.
So chivalry is where you're polite to other people. So if we were both approaching a door at the same time, let's say Shivi and I are approaching a door at the same time, we're just both converging on a door. We regard it as polite for the man to open the door for the girl, right? That's tradition. Tradition says that happens, right? Tradition says that happens. Now, there's a modern thing come in, driven by women who are all into men and women are equal totally and everything, and so it's therefore disrespectful to open the door for the girl, right? They drive that. Now, I personally hate that thinking. I hate it. That's just me, right? I'm probably old-fashioned and that, but you know, if we were approaching a door, Shivi and I would get that door before she did. I would step faster than her to make sure I got that door and open it and let her through. And most women that you do that to, most women would appreciate that and say thank you. They do. Now, if it was two men doing that, the one that got there first would typically open the door for the other person. They just would, right? They'd just open it and they would let the other person through. We wouldn't open the door and go through ourselves. We would open it, let the other person through first, right? So you know that thing in India where you're trying to get on a bus, you're never going to get on that bus unless you push your way on. You know that thing?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen here. That does not happen. Yeah, people queue in Britain. So they automatically form into a queue. They don't barge in. That's regarded as very rude. The only place I can exception to that is the London Tube. In the London Tube, if you are very polite and let everybody in, you will never get on the tube. Never. Because there's so many people. In normal times, not in COVID times, but in normal times, there's a queue, there's a crowd of people waiting to get on when doors open and it's already full. You're not going to get in unless you squeeze your way in. So that's the one exception to that. But in any other normal circumstance, people form queues and wait in line and don't get in front of somebody else. And if you do, let's say you get to the airport and you're late. I've done this. I'm really late for a flight. I need to barge the queue. I need to get to the front of the queue. What I'll do is I'll say, do you mind if I just go ahead of you? My flight's really leaving in 5 minutes. I need to go. And they'll let you on usually. But some people disapprove and tut. Look at him, you know, and give a little bit of verbal abuse. But most people are okay. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so burping. I know in some countries this is regarded as polite to burp after eating food. Burp, you know, letting up some wind, you know.
Yeah. In
our culture, that's frowned upon. That's regarded as, majorly rude.
Yeah.
I like Yelham's reaction. She's going, oh. Yeah, we would, we would do that like, you know, quietly. If we're going to have to release some wind, we would do it quietly. We would not burp. Guys, just with guys, they wouldn't care. In any mixed company, seen as very, very rude, very impolite.
Okay. I think in India, like when you're having dinner with your family and when you work, it's like very normal thing. But when you go out for a dinner,
Yeah.
then like you should follow a basic procedure. Like you
Yeah.
are not allowed to burp or something.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's similar, sounds like. What are these other ones? I'm going to be quicker. I want to kind of finish this off. So, yeah, offering to help adults if they need it. So we would certainly say that to children, and we would also say to others, like if you see somebody needs some help, a lady trying to cross the road, an older lady or an older man, you would go and help them. That is normal, right? We wouldn't ignore them. Asking to be excused at the end of a meal. So we would expect, in a mealtime, kids often at the end want to leave immediately and go and play, right? And even before the end of the meal. We teach kids not to do that. And if they want to leave, it's okay, but they have to ask permission. Use good table manners when eating, blah, blah, blah. Chew with your food. We teach them to chew with their mouth shut. Don't masticate your food like this. As regarded as you can see the food in your mouth, that's regarded as very bad. Having a positive attitude is kind of interesting, and it kind of harks back to the point that Elham made earlier about do people want to chat or not. Now let me write that word here so you understand what I used there. I used the word hark. Did you hear that? And I said harks back. So what I said, this point here harks back to what Elham asked earlier when she said, well, what if somebody doesn't want to chat to you? What's the protocol there? Now, we teach children and young people to have a positive attitude in the sense that the opposite to that is to be sulky, I don't want to talk to you. To be sulking. That's, even if you feel like that, that's bad form for everybody else because it sort of brings down the mood of the table. And so we encourage people to be outgoing and a little bit extrovert maybe, even when they're in company. We teach them that. Now, Elham and I have had an offline discussion about introverts and extroverts, and I recommended a video, which if you don't know her and haven't heard of this concept about dimension, you should go and watch the video. And the video, the talk is on TED and it's by a lady called Susan Cain. Susan Cain. Susan Cain. TED Talk. Go Google that. And if you find it interesting and it resonates with you, go and read her book called Quiet. This is very good. And this was a revelation to me about what is an introvert and why an introvert is a very good thing. And you either are an introvert or you're not. You just have degrees of it. But our society, particularly, I don't know so much about the East, but the Western society tries to force everybody to be extrovert. And Susan, who was a lawyer, all her life struggled because she would always be getting pushed to go to dinner parties, outgoing, and be out there. And she wanted nothing more than to be quiet and read books all the time. And so she was always not in her comfort zone. And in that book, she points out that this is the way introverts are and we should respect it and not force the introvert to behave like an extrovert. And actually to recognize that the introvert is actually quite often a very smart person to answer before you do as the extrovert, right? That's a very interesting topic. Won't go into any more detail than that. But notwithstanding, I'm using that word again that I've used on the forum recently. Notwithstanding that point, no matter what your disposition is if you came to my house for dinner, and you're all welcome to come when you're in Scotland, by the way, and you can even stay over again, no problem, but spare room. If you sat down for dinner with me, I would like you to chat to me. Yeah, I'd like you to talk to me. I wouldn't want you to be right. So no matter what your mood would be in, I would want you to be talkable. Yeah? And that's regarded as good manners. We're in the section dealing with having good manners. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Shaking hands. So obviously things are a wee bit different now with COVID. You know, we're told not to shake hands. But in normal life, when we meet somebody, whether we knew them or we didn't, we would shake hands. And in general, we encourage a good, strong handshake. Whether you're a female, we would encourage you to give a good grip. And we would criticize what we call a fishy grip. You know, it's just like, good handshake. Returning items that are borrowed. So if you borrow one of my books, that's perfectly okay, but I really want you to give it to me back. You know, don't force me to ask for it back. Yeah? That's regarded as bad form. Bad form. Bad form is equals bad behaviour, or let's say poor manners.
Hi, sir.
Hi,
Sir,
hi, Bindi. Yep.
sir, I have one client call, sir. He's asking some information.
Okay, then, no problem.
Sir, where I get this call recording, sir? Because
Yeah,
I want
I'll
to.
put it on the forum. I'll put it on the group. Yeah, I'll go on YouTube and then I'll send you the link.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining, though. I appreciate it. Bad language, right? So in general, bad language is regarded as rude, right? We don't use bad language in public. At least anyone that's respectable doesn't. Although sometimes people use expletives for dramatic effect, right? Because they're scared or whatever. But it depends on the class of society that you're dealing with, right? Whether, you know, some people can't issue a sentence without some expletive in it, right? But it's definitely bad form. Bad form. So on television, in all normal programs, you wouldn't hear bad language. If somebody does say something by accident, they cover their mouth. Oh, sorry. Right?
Yeah.
Sharing, give compliments. It's nearly finished. Yeah, so we were talking in this giving compliments. It's a good thing to. You would not only compliment how somebody is dressed, but you would also compliment their food. If they give you a meal, that's lovely. You wouldn't say it if it wasn't true, but if it was anyway a nice meal, you would thank them for the meal, compliment them. Don't complain when you do things for others. Write thank you notes. Oh, this is a big thing. If somebody gives you something, any kind of gift, no matter how small, we would send them a card, a thank you note. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, even if it was a little thing, right? Somebody gives you a book, you would definitely regard it as etiquette to send a thank you note. And the last one is interesting. Doing for others what they want. You know, this is called the golden rule, right? So doing for others what you want them to do for you. Just treating other people like you want to be treated. We try and teach our kids that. Not everyone does that, but that's what we try to do. Okay. that was etiquette. The one thing I didn't cover, which I think is quite important, and I touched on it briefly at the beginning, and that is when we ask somebody to do something, we're a little bit gentle in the way we ask it. So we might say, "Oh, no, would you mind doing this?" Would you mind? Or could you? You know, that's how we would phrase it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't say. We wouldn't order people. We wouldn't order people about. We would always ask. Like even within the family, you know, could you help me? We sort of put it over gently.
Yeah.
And in general, when somebody asks you to do something, you always do it. You know, we say bend over backwards. Do it. Bend over backwards, which is just an expression of when you go to extreme lengths. Obviously, bending over backwards is pretty hard to do. Angela can probably do it because she does some yoga. Maybe she can do that, but there's not many people can bend over backwards, right? Very few people can do that. I know yoga can do it, but most people can't do that.
Yeah.
We just use that as a metaphor,
Yeah.
and we say, "Oh, I would bend over backwards to help that person." Yeah.
Okay. Is that mean that you go out of your comfort zone to help some
Yeah.
other person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's regarded as very good behavior, and it's really appreciated. Is helping other people. People judge you by how you help others. Yeah. That. Yeah. Anyway, that longer than I anticipated, but hopefully it was useful. We didn't
Yeah,
get
it was.
grammar done, but so be it. We'll do grammar another time. I'll find a good website on grammar, which we can work through. I'll show you that so that you can take a look at it if you want in your own time.
Okay.
But we'll go through. There's different levels in it. It's called learnenglish.britishcouncil.org is the website, and I'll maybe share that website afterwards. And I was going to go through adjectives, and there's different levels here of English. So this is a really good resource for all of you guys. So I was going to start off simple and then get more difficult, but this is looking at adjectives ending in ed and ing. And Mona in particular had asked me to look at this, and another girl had as well. So I thought we'd do a little bit of this, and then, you know, we could do a little bit every week. So not only are we doing vocabulary, we're doing cultural stuff like I've talked about, and we could do a bit of this as well. So vocab, bit of culture, or British expressions. So here, as an example, how this works is, there's a blank. You look really what? Why don't you go to bed? So is the answer tired or tiring?
The answer would be tired, I guess. Tired.
You say tired?
Yeah.
That's pretty easy, right? But so you do that, and then you go to the next one, and this one is, can I call you? I've got some very what news for you. Excited or exciting?
Exciting. Exciting.
Exactly. So you see how that goes. So, I mean, for you guys, this is quite simple. But maybe for some of the others that are just starting, you know, they might struggle with this. And there's different levels. So you can go from A through to B, through to C, and different levels of English, right? So I've only started exploring this because I began to realize how important grammar is. I get lots of grammar questions from Alice that I struggle to answer because she's from China, and in China they really do exams on grammar, and they don't teach us grammar in school. He says, lying, but they teach us a little bit, but we don't major on it. because we just know what's right and wrong with grammar, not because of rules, but because of what we're used to hearing. That's the reality. And so Alice will say to me, look, here's this question. What's the answer? A, B, C, or D? And she'll say, I think the answer is A. And I'll say, it's not, it's B. And then she'll ask me all these questions about predicates and prepositions and things, you know, and say, I really think it's A. And I'm saying, no, I know it's B's the answer. I know, but I can't tell you why I know it's the answer. It's that embarrassing. But I do know, 100% I know it's right the answer. So
yeah.
I
remember that question, sir, regarding Melissa, a girl.
Yeah.
There was this question.
That was an easy one. The one she sent me a new one today, and it was like, I was a little bit flabbergasted. There's a good expression, flabbergasted. Do you use that word in India? Flabbergasted?
No. Can you please write that?
That's a great word. That's a magic word, that, flabbergasted. I'll find my notepad again. Here we go. Chat. Right, flabbergasted. Which means I'm completely clueless. I don't know what to do, right? I'm just amazed, right, at this level of the question she got. Flabbergasted. Great word. Good word to learn, right? And you can look it up. I'll add it to the forum of stuff we're learning.
Yeah.
So it'll appear. And when we get to saying F's, I'll get you guys to learn to say flabbergasted. It's a big long word, right? It's a really good word. Flabbergasted. I'm like, you can be amazed in a good way or a bad way, you know. So that guy, he gave up his job, you know, he had a really good job and he just totally gave it up, and I'm flabbergasted. Right? I'm flabbergasted. See, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. My neighbor is always playing loud music. It's very annoyed or annoying. See? So you can see how that kind of stuff's very helpful. And if we know this stuff, we can whip through it at great speed until we get to the stage where we're having to think. What Alice is doing is firing questions at me that are much more difficult than this. Like much more. The one she gave me today, I was sure there was two answers. Two out of four were right, in my opinion, but I couldn't argue from a grammarian's point of view why one was right and one was wrong. I couldn't do it. I was flummoxed. Which is the word we've all done recently, right? Flummoxed. Bindi, that'll be a new word for you.
I think both are synonyms of each other, right? Flabbergasted and flummoxed.
No, but they are similar. They're the same. They're from the same precinct in the large map that is the English language, right? Elham has got it right. She said it's confused. If I'm flummoxed, I'm confused, right? But flummoxed is stronger than that. So when I get to the end of the street and I'm going to find Anjali, right? Do I turn right or left? I don't know. I'm a bit confused. Yeah. But I could be under pressure one day and I have to answer something quickly, and now I'm flummoxed. So it's more than just confused. I'm actually a little bit panicked slightly. I would be flummoxed. Yeah. Flabbergasted is I'm absolutely amazed. Right? I'm totally surprised. So Anjali's going for an exam. It's an important exam. She studied for it for 3 months every night. Failed the exam. I am completely flabbergasted. I'm not confused and I'm not flummoxed, but I am flabbergasted. Can you see?
Surprised.
Really surprised. Really surprised. I'm not confused at all. I might be confused as to why it happened, but I'm just amazed. I'm not disappointed, because disappointment would say I'm judging. I'm not judging. I'm just amazed. See?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe in my later call tonight with the Colombians, I might do some grammar. We'll see. I don't know if we cover all the same topics or different topic. I don't know. It might be good to do a different topic, and then we can catch up in each other's classes. You know, too late for all of you guys. So that might be an idea. We'll see how that goes. I don't really want to have the same conversation about etiquette again 2 times in one evening. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm about out of time now. So I'm going to call it quits.
Okay.
I'm going to call it quits. Right, which means I'm going to say I'm going to finish. Means,
Okay, call it quits.
Finish, yeah. I'm going to call it quits. Very common expression. Elham always encourages me to say how common something is, or is it really out there? Really, is it Alanese? Nobody says these things. No, this is very, very common, right? It's call it quits. Right?
It's like it's same as call it a day, right? Let's call it a day.
Yeah, I'm going to call it a day. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, means the same thing. Yep. Good point. So I think the last thing I'll just do is say, does any of you have any questions for me? Anything we've covered this afternoon or recently in the class? Let me stop sharing my screen. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, I see Nida has just joined. Hello, Nida. Nice to see you, my dear. Nida and I had a nice conversation earlier, just one-on-one. Yeah, so unfortunately we're at the end of the class, Nida, but you can always get the recording and catch up. Yeah, so any questions from anyone on anything? This is the ask me anything thing. Just, I can't promise to be able to answer always, but I'll do my best. Any questions from anyone? There's an expression we use in English here called any more for any more. Any more for any more, which means any more of you with any more questions. We say any more for any more. I'll say that, right? Any more for any more. That's quite common. Yeah, anyone got any questions? I know it's late for all you guys, so you may be getting a bit tired. But in India, it's 6 o'clock now. So this is, for me, this is about 10:30 in the evening for you guys, yeah? 10:30 in the evening?
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Anjali.
What is the meaning of kid on? Like you send that in the group
Kid
as
on?
an exercise.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. Right. So the kid on is the root. The etymology here is absolutely fascinating. I'll tell you that for free. To kid on means to pretend. Okay. So I did answer in some of the, if you look at the answers, I did answer this written form with some of the people already, but you know, I could put a mask on and kid on I'm a bandit, right? Especially if it was black, you know, and if I put something over my eyes, I could kid on I'm a bandit. I'm kid on and pretending. The root of it is that, but people have generalized a little bit and say like I'm joking, right? I'm just kidding. They say I'm just kidding, you know. So like if I knew you really well, I wouldn't say this to you just now, I don't know you well enough, but I could say to you, if I knew you really well, I could say, you look terrible today, Mona, or Anjali. And you say, and then I say, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding on. I'm pretending. I'm not serious. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Right. So that's how.
So it's like this. It's like the same thing. The I'm kidding or I'm kidding on, both are similar,
Yes.
right? I'm joking.
And I'm kidding on. I'll tell you why we say kid on in just a moment. Why we say, where does this on word come? Why am I just not saying kidding all the time, right? And it's got nothing to do with a kid as in a child, but it has got to do with a kid as in a goat. A young goat is a kid. Did you know that? You didn't know that? So,
No.
So a male goat is called a billy goat, right? And a young goat, like, you know the way a young sheep is a lamb. So a young goat is called a kid. Yeah. And this is where it comes from, right? And this is another one of these expressions that comes from the Bible, right? And it comes from a story way back in the Old Testament where there was two brothers, twins, and one was called Esau and one was called Jacob. And they were the sons of a man called Isaac. And he's very famous. So, you know, one of the most famous people in the Old Testament is Abraham, and he had a son called Isaac. And then he had a son, he had two sons who were twins, Esau and Jacob. And when they were being born, Esau was born first, right? So he's the eldest. And the way it worked in those days was the elder son received the greater blessing, right? So when it passed one generation to the next, the elder son always got the greater blessing. Now, to go back to Elham's comment earlier about different types of people, right? We would say about Esau, he was a man's man. Okay, he was a man's man. And that meant...
Man's man.
What?
Man's man. He was a man's man.
Yeah. So Esau was a man's man. And what we mean by that expression is that he was a hunter. He liked to go and hunt. Yeah, he'd go out in the field and he would hunt deer, you know, and he was very much an outdoor person. And he looked like that because he was very hairy arms. And this is very significant. He was very hairy arms, you see? His brother, Jacob, was more of what we call the opposite to that, is a mummy's boy. That's the opposite.
Okay.
So Jacob was a mummy's boy, right? So he was close to his mom. His mom was called Rachel. Okay. Now, isn't that right? Rebecca. His mom was called Rebecca. Isaac and Rebecca. Yeah, his mom was called Rebecca. Now, so when Isaac, the father, was about to die, getting very old, he was going to die and he was going to pronounce blessing on his sons. And they knew this. And so Esau said, right, I'm going to go out the field and I'm going to get a deer. I'm going to hunt for a deer. I know my father really loves that. And the father really did love that, you see. So he went off to hunt for a deer and come back and they were going to kill this deer and eat this deer. And this was going to be the celebration. And then he was going to pronounce the blessing. But when he went off, the mother, Rebecca, went to Jacob and said, your father's going to pronounce a blessing on your son. Go and get a kid, right? Meaning a young goat, and kill it.
Okay.
And I'll dress it and I'll make it up as if it was deer, you see?
Okay.
And we'll take the skin and you can put it on your arms and you can go and pretend you're your brother and get your brother's blessing. And this is what he did.
Oh.
Right, yeah. So he went in and he had skin on his arms. He put kid on. And he pretended to be somebody else. and he got his brother's garment, and his brother's tunic smelled of the field. And so he went to his father. His father was old and blind, Isaac. And Isaac said, "Who is it?" And he said, he lied, so it's Jacob, and he pretended to be Esau, and he said, "It's your son Esau." And Isaac's father said, "It's the voice of Jacob. Come near, my son." And he came near, and he touched his arms, and he felt the skin, the rough skin. He felt the rough skin, and he smelled the tunic. And he believed he was deceived, right? And he pronounced a blessing on Jacob. And when Esau connected, eventually he came in and said, "Where's my blessing? Here I am, Father," whatever. And the father said, "But I've already blessed you." Who was that? And they discovered what had happened. And basically, Jacob got the blessing that should have gone to the elder brother. Okay, that's the story. You need to go and read it for yourselves to get all the details. But it's very interesting, isn't it? Now so the expression "kid on" doesn't occur in the Bible, but because that happened when English people started reading the Bible, they just took that expression out of the Bible and turned it into something in language that we say, if you pretend you're something else, we say you kid on. You kid on you're this, you kid on you that. It means pretending. You're joking. You're kidding. Yeah. That's what comes from. That's the etymology of that expression. Very interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting. Yeah, that's a long story behind a short word.
And what I said in the forum was in the group is nobody knows this, right? Unless somebody reads the Bible, they will never know that. And most people don't read the Bible now, right? Even in our society, they used to years ago, but not anymore. Yeah. So most people don't know this. So you've got some special knowledge there.
Yeah.
If that was interesting.
Yeah, and the power is cut here again.
I can see that. Yeah. Right. So any more questions from anyone? Nope. Okay. Well, that was fun. Thank you for all your time. And I'll see you next week. I'll see you on the group, and we'll chat on the group. I'll do the next letter. We've done V, X, Y will be the next one. So we'll practice saying yacht and young and yogurt and words like that. We'll do that.
Okay.
All right. I'll bid you all good evening. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night to you too, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Anjali.
Okay, sir. Bye-bye.
I think Elham has had to go or she's lost her connection. She's gone already.
Yeah, she's not here.
Yeah.
She's not here.
Phoebe,
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Bye.